Most contractors think that their revenue problem is a lead problem. They spend more on Google ads, Facebook ads. They buy more leads from Angie's List. They hire another rep. But the real problem is almost never leads. It's conversion. And the biggest conversion leak in almost every trades business I've ever worked with happens in one specific place: the quote delivery. If you've ever sent a quote and then spent the next 2 weeks chasing someone who won't call you back, this webinar is going to change how you run your sales process forever. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you the 3 mistakes that are quietly bleeding revenue out of your business every single month, not from a lack of leads, not from pricing, but from how you're delivering your quotes. So let's go. The 3 quote delivery mistakes costing contractors thousands. I mean, this is just an incredible opportunity that you guys have that I want to help you solve. I want to open up with this for you. I want to be helpful, constructive, productive as we do this. But I just want to let you know that you are rarely, if ever, losing a job based upon price and price alone. And I know that's a hard thing to think about. You think that you're constantly getting shopped. And don't get me wrong, you are. I'm not saying that price is not a concern. It's not something important to talk about. But price is not the reason why we typically are losing a job, especially in this space. We're losing jobs because of what happens, or maybe worse, what doesn't happen after the quote. You feel me? Things start to go a little bit quiet. I've actually talked to quite a few of you about this very thing. You just they kind of go off into no man's land. They just kind of get quiet. You feel that too? Gosh, I've talked to a couple of you recently. You've got hundreds of quotes, open quotes in your pipeline, hundreds of thousands of dollars in opportunity that you're not 100% certain what's happened. That's what I want to help you solve today. And by the way, if we're meeting for the first time, my name is Ryan James Miller. I'm the founder of the Sales Operating System, Contractors and Trades Edition. The goal is to systematize the sales process to ensure that you are generating the right opportunities and you are converting every single one of them that you possibly can. Really, the crux of it all, the peak of that house that you see on that logo is converting more quotes. You guys get sold so many bills of goods around tools, systems, and widgets to help you generate more leads. And I'm telling you right now, very few of you need more leads. You may, but more often than not, you need to convert more quotes. That's why you're here. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about that. You got a leak and it's in your pipeline. It's not in your lead flow. You have a leak in your pipeline. For you plumbers, you get this. For you in the water business, you get this. You are leaking opportunities that are already there. If you went from a 35 to a 50% conversion ratio with just 20 quotes, I mean, that's a difference in 3 additional jobs. Same leads, same prices, could be 15, could be 50,000 a month in revenue. And I see this time and time again. I should have put some more realistic numbers there because I would say more typical numbers there. That's maybe a better way to say that. Typically what I see is true quote conversion. Those of you that are actually that you're actually tracking every single estimate all the way through to close, most people I see are converting somewhere between about 20 to 25% in reality. I can typically get people with just a simple tightening of their quote conversion system to about 35 or 40%. And some of my best clients are doing 50% or better in terms of quote conversion. And these aren't on $300 jobs, by the way. Most of the clients that we consult for are selling $5,000 to $50,000 jobs. And so you can understand and just imagine what a 10% increase in conversion ratio is for them. But for all of us, I mean, 10% would be astronomical, 15% would be amazing, and 20%, it would make most of us fall on the floor. So We just need to look for the leaks. Where are the cracks in the pipeline that we can fix to just get more of what we've already got? And by the way, here's something else that I think is really, really important to share here. And trust me, I'm going to explain the three mistakes in specificity, but I want you to understand something. You had buyer intent. Do you remember how hard it was for you to get the attention of your first client ever? I mean, the first person that ever reached out to you and said, I would love to book an appointment for you to come out to my house to do some measurements and to give me a quote. Remember how hard that was? Do you know how hard it is for you to get the attention of somebody today, even after you've been doing it for so long? I mean, I've been in business myself for 15 years. 15 years. And over the course of 15 years, I actually think it's gotten harder to get the attention of somebody. There's just so much more noise out there. There's so many more people selling to my clients, to you. To get your attention is so stinking hard. But guess what? Once I have your attention, it's easier for me to sell you something because you're already paying attention. There's something about me that you know, like, and or trust. So why wouldn't I do a better job of investing into making sure that I convert every single person that I already have the attention of than spending all my time, effort, energy, and attention to try and attract more cold people that are so dang hard to get in the first place? I mean, this is such a problem for us, you guys. So here are the three mistakes, and I'm going to break these down. So trust me, I'm not just gonna give them to you. I'm going to break down what these mistakes are and something that you can do about every single one of them. But here are three mistakes that are killing your quote conversion. Okay. You could be at 40, 50%, you're at 30, 20%, maybe it's even worse. Number one is you email the quote instead of walking through it live. I smile because I know one of you on this call that I've had this conversation with personally, and gosh, it just drives me nuts. So you email the quote instead of walking through it live. Number two, you lead with price before re-anchoring on value. I'm going to explain a little bit more about what that is. We'll get to that in a second. Number three, you don't lock in a follow-up call at the moment of delivery. So I'm going to break down all three of those things. But for now, if those three things excite you, you're going to want to stick around because I'm going to walk through every single one of those specifically for you so you can solve some of these problems on your own. And if any of this gets overwhelming, just know you're in the community. You can ask questions. You can post. I'll respond. You can DM. I'll try to respond to those too as well. We've got a really cool offer for you at the end, so stick around. We can build this with and or for you. But regardless, if these three things sound interesting, stick around. Okay, number one. Number one is you email your quotes, and basically what you're doing is you're handing the sale to an inbox. It is so hard for those of you that go out on site, you're going to feel this a lot more than those of you that are doing this virtually. But for both of you, you go out to a home, you sit with that client, and you have a conversation. You build some rapport. You share a little bit about your family, maybe the history of your business. You should be doing those things. You hear from them too. They tell you a little bit about their life, about what they're doing, what their plans are, what their hardships are, maybe their frustration around the product or service you have and why you're there in the first place. You drove all the way out there. You built all that rapport. Don't you want to continue with that human connectivity? I mean, in this world of technology overload and artificial intelligence, being a real human being is one of the greatest leverage points we have to make more sales. And instead of you taking advantage of that and keeping control of the sales process all along the way, what you do is you have a great conversation that you've built rapport into, that you've made them feel something about you, and then you send a quote via email. And a machine receives that. And you know as well as I do what happens next. That client that could be yours opens up that email and looks at what? The number. That's all they look at. They look at the number at the bottom of that quote. And then what they do next is what kills you. They either look to another quote that they've already gotten, or if they're not satisfied with that one and not completely satisfied with yours because they're afraid you didn't give them a good enough deal, Then they pick up the phone, then they go online and they make an inquiry for another quote. Until what? Until they get a number that's lower than the number that you gave them. And all the while, you're trying to chase them down and they ain't listening to it because they have decided that you're charging them too much money. You don't even get to rebut that. You don't get to have a conversation with them about an apples to apples comparison of your product and service to theirs. If you are here on my call right now, or you watch this at some point in the future, and you do not believe in your heart that you are the best in the business at the product or service that you offer, get off. We have to believe deep in our heart that there's nobody better than us to do what we're doing. And if you've got a service level, if you've got a product to back up your belief, then you should not allow price to dictate the decision that's about to be made. You're better, you command, you demand a higher price. You are worth it. And you know you are because you've made sales at that higher price. I was talking to a client. I can rant on this for days, you guys, but I was talking to a client. I do consulting work for them. They've got salespeople, and they were complaining about the fact that they're overpriced. They're overpriced, or losing quotes as the result of price. And one of the things I said to those salespeople when I got in front of them, I said, "You know what's crazy?" I said, "You guys keep telling us that you're losing deals as the result of price, but 35% of your clients love your price. So what's going on? Is it really price?" No, it's because they were doing the same thing. They were just emailing quotes over and hoping that a client would call them back. You got to get on the phone. You have to walk through that quote with that client in person or on the phone or on video. Do not let them interpret that information on their own because you will be up the creek without a paddle. Number two, the number lands before they are ready to hear it. This is what I was talking about when I shared price. Every contractor that just shoots a price off, and I'm not talking about post this deep conversation, I'm talking about right out of the gate. So many contractors that I talk to, they open up with a number. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot gain some understanding as to the budget, needs, constraints of the person that you're talking to. But you have a brief conversation, you pull up a quote, and then you say something like, "So, this is how much is this going to cost you?" And then you wait. The prospect, they're in their mind, all they're doing is thinking about that number, right? This tails right into what I said earlier. All they're thinking about is, that number's that number's higher than the last number I heard. Oh, you know what? My friend said that they got it cheaper than that. I'm shopping window tint for a car I just bought, and I'm no fool. I ain't shopping for the lowest price because I know what happens when you pay for cheap window tint. And so I'm not just looking for an estimate. As a matter of fact, I did inquire with a few companies that I had to go online to get to, and so many of them just came back with a price. One of them, actually the one I chose, and I booked an appointment with that I have next Saturday. They had tons of incredible reviews that I found online. So that's a tip for you. But also, their quote was very explanatory as to what I was getting, why I was getting it, the suggestions and recommendations they made. But even then, again, when you throw a number out too quickly, when you give them a quote too quickly, you've made price the entire conversation. It's all about the number. That's all they're thinking about. Before you give them a number, before you quote them whatever it is you believe it's going to cost to do a great job for them, you need to re anchor the conversation in a couple of things: the problem, the scope, and the outcome. This is the problem you communicated to me. This is why I'm here. This is the scope of the job, meaning this is what it's going to take to deliver an excellent result for you. And finally, this is the outcome. This is what you're going to get as the result. And what you should be doing and why this should be done in person is because you want to see this. You want to see body language agreeing with what you're saying. As a matter of fact, you can even go as far, and again, I can't get into all the details here because we don't have enough time, but when you communicate the problem, you should say, "Do you agree?" Right? Or something along those lines. When you share the scope, do you understand? When you share the outcome, is that what you're after? We should be getting confirmation multiple times from them before we ask for the final confirmation is are we going to get married? You have to re-anchor over and over and over again. And it's to value why I'm here, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to produce. They should be nodding all along the way. They should see when we get to the end of we agree on the problem, right? Yes. We agree that this is going to be an incredible experience in delivering this to you. Yep. Yes, absolutely. We both agree that this outcome that I've proposed is exactly what you're looking for. Actually, maybe I blew you away and it's better. Yes, 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 absolutely. Then your final question should be, do you see any reason why we wouldn't move forward and get this job started for you? You tell me why or why not. I want the prospect to have to make a case back to me why they would make an illogical decision and not choose me and instead choose somebody else. It would be like a doctor quoting you for a procedure. And for those of you that think you think your insurance pays for everything, that's a whole nother topic of conversation. This isn't going to be relevant, but it would be like a doctor explaining the cost of surgery before they laid out what the procedure was going to be. We wouldn't do that. Price resistance often, almost always, is not about price. You don't lose jobs because you're too expensive. You lose jobs because you don't resell the value before you communicate the price. And then again, after you communicate the price. And so you end up losing out to somebody else that communicates better value. It could be a lower cost, but it's because they've communicated it better to the prospect. Number three, when there is no next step, there is no sale. You should never leave a conversation with a prospect until you have another date on that calendar. See, what normally happens is this. You go out for your on-site appointment or you do that over the phone. You send a quote. You've done your walkthrough. And then the salesperson, maybe you, says something like this. Okay, Johnny, so go ahead and take a look and let me know if you have any questions. Oh, you need to speak to your spouse? Okay, perfect. Once you have that conversation with your spouse, you just let me know. That's it. No next step, no scheduled call, just open air. Indecision is the default that all of us fall into when we are unsure of what to do next. Most prospects aren't saying no to you, they are just saying not yet. Of course, they have to talk to their spouse. They should. You should encourage them to do that. Don't make a financial decision like that without talking to your spouse. Of course, they have to figure out timing. Of course, they have to coordinate with other trades. But without a next step, without a structured framework and timeline in place to help them see what it's going to take to get them to their glory, days pass. The prospect gets busy doing other things. A competitor follows up first. And now you are chasing a dead lead that was warm just a few days ago. The best time to schedule the next conversation is during this conversation because their emotions are at a high. Their like and maybe love for you is at a high. Their trust, you've walked them through and showed them client reviews, is at a high. Every hour that passes creates a greater sense of buyer's remorse, and we can get that before we ever buy a single thing. So, what does this look like in practice? Before you wrap up this quote, before you wrap up this conversation, you lock in a specific next date to reconnect. Perfect. You love everything I said to you today, but you need to talk to your spouse. No problem. When do you think you're going to be able to do that? 3 days. Okay. So today is Thursday. Let's not count the weekends. So how about I give you a call back Tuesday around the same time, 1:25 p.m. Pacific time. Does that work for you? What is there a better time? I'm not sure. Oh, Is there some hesitation? You see, I get to address objectives in the moment instead of trying to guess in my head later on why I can't get back to them. We want to create an entire follow up system built on structure, not hope. Hope is nothing when it comes to generating revenue. We can hope all we want, but hope just turns us into chasers of ghosts. It's like being in those tubes where they stand up, they blindfold people, and the money flies around, and people are trying to grab dollars all that they can. I mean, if they're lucky, they get like $3, and it's right in front of them. That's how you are with your prospects. No next step, no sale. Let me know if you have any questions. That's not a strategy. That's a hope and a prayer. And I love prayer. I deeply believe in prayer. But trust me, this is not the time that you want to be relying on that to close your deal. You have to take responsibility for your next step. This is what I want to reiterate for you. Knowing the problem isn't the same as fixing it. You're aware. You know you have a problem or you wouldn't be here. You know this is a challenge for you. There's a gap. You know you've heard about your peers closing 40, 50% of their deals. They may be lying, but even if they're not, you know there's people out there that are closing deals at a greater rate than you are. And all along you're thinking to yourself, gosh, I'm as good as they are. Shoot, I'm better than they are. Well, you may be aware of the challenges that you're facing, but if you don't have a system in place that you implement and have discipline to consistently follow through on, again, I said it earlier, you're up the creek with no paddle. We have to do something about it. And this is what we do. And you're like, oh, he's going to pitch. That's why you're here. I can help you. I know I can help you. There's people in this community that I've helped do this very thing. And I'm telling you right now, I know many of you. I know people just like you. You have the heart to want to do something about it, but you get overwhelmed because you have to run a business. And that's why we've done this. We've created a simple way for you to engage with us to allow us to help you build out this quote conversion system. It's $1,000, $997. I'll give you $3 back. It's done with you. It's not a video. I hop on a call. Week 1, we work through the challenges. We understand what it's going to take. You got 2 weeks of implementation. And then in week 4, so week 1 is the call, weeks 2 and 3 are implementation. Week 4, we wrap it all up, we put a bow on it, and we deliver a finished product to you. And we open up 4 spots every single month. We had 4 in March. They're all gone. And now we're booking for April. 30 days, scripts, frameworks. It's the entire thing. You already have money in your pipeline. Why not fight harder to close it? Why not figure out exactly what it's going to take to uncork that bottle and let that champagne just flow? You can go to sos-quote-sprint.com URL, or if you're on the computer, you can take your phone, scan that QR code, and you can go right to securing one of the 4 spots for April. There's only 4 because I only do 1 slot a week. I can't do more than that right now because we have other things that we're working on. So if you are dealing with 1, 2, or all 3 of these quote delivery mistakes and you need some help, I can help you do that. We can help you do that. I have a full-time team member. She jumps in on a lot of this too. Her name is Shannon. She's lovely, and I should bring her on some of these calls. I am committed to being the premier entity helping contractors, trades, and home service business owners and sales professionals just like you convert quotes at the most ridiculously high conversion rates. I fully believe in our system. I fully believe in our processes. I appreciate the fact that you guys are here, that you're listening to this. Excuse me. I hope you got value from this before we even get here. I didn't want to just give you a bunch of garbage and then, hey, I'm going to sell you on something. I wanted to show you that not only do I understand the problems, but I understand the solutions. And we have done them hundreds of times over the last 15 years. In very low levels, again, like this, just 30 days, sprint, fix a problem. I got one client, we've been working for 3 years to take him from 2% profitability to about 18% profitability in his business. And on like 8 million bucks, that's a ridiculous amount of money in all of these systems we've implemented. And we've done that time and time again for clients just like that. So if you look at your pipeline and you have open opportunities and you want to do something about it, this is your opportunity to take advantage. If not, jump back into the community. You can ask questions. I'll do my best to try and answer those there. You can DM me if you need anything specific. I really appreciate you guys showing up, being here. 2 weeks. We're going to be doing this again every 2 weeks on Thursday at this same time. We do these Jumpstart Pipeline sessions. Hope they're valuable for you. I'd love to hear it from you if they are. And if you have a topic that you want to talk about in the future related to converting more opportunities, feel free to reach out to me. We'll try to incorporate those into one of our future sessions. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you greatly. Have a fantastic day. Talk to you soon.